like Matt Millen, and he seems to me the perfect Raider. Boy, he'll take you right in the face and knock you out.
Well, Bub is the kind of guy, you know, it's funny that we're playing the Patriots. I know a lot of guards try to chop Matt. They go low on him because they don't want to take him on up high, and this is one of the guys he loves to play against, John Hanna, because John Hanna will come out and try to knock your block off. And for Matt, that's his game.
All right, now, you talk about the Raider mystique. You once described it as punching, pushing, and pointing.
I've never been accused of being a finesse player, and I never will be. And that's not what they want here.
What about the fighting? I mean, sometimes when the Raiders are flat, and you take a look at this boy's face here, I mean, nice guy, nice guy. When the Raiders are flat, you see a fight break out. And every time I look, I see number 55, which is you, always in there in the middle of it.
We're not a catch-up kind of team. We're a team that has to fight and scratch and do everything we can to stay there, then get a big play and win the game. So when that situation comes up, it's my job, basically, one of the things my job description says. I can show it to you. I have to do something. If I don't do it, most of the time it won't get done.
You know, one of the strangest things is you're one of the few teams that don't have to roll into a playoff situation. You guys could have lost your last game, but if it's a playoff situation, you're always ready to play.
Al Davis is not going to let this team get complacent. Tom Flores is not going to let this team take anything lightly. And from season to season, from year to year, what you see in 1985 is the same thing you saw in 1963, and it's going to be the same thing you're going to see in 2000.
Winning a championship is nothing uncommon here. Winning a Super Bowl is the standard. It's the standard by which we are judged by our owner and by our peers, because we expect to be in the playoffs. We expect to win those championships, and we expect to have a shot at that Super Bowl. And we don't celebrate until the Super Bowl's over. And that's only for about 15 minutes, and then Mr. Davis is thinking about the next year.
Well, the Patriots stand in the way of their goal this year. And when you think about the Patriots, it's not the same team that you've seen in the past. They've got 7 guys going to the Pro Bowl, a new coach in Raymond Berry, who has instilled a confidence in this team. He's also created an atmosphere that these guys can go out and play winning football. And being around these guys this morning, they honestly feel like their goal is going to the Super Bowl, and the Raiders stand in their way. Now, talking about some matchups. Michael Haynes may be going against Stanley Morgan. I talked to both these guys this morning, and Michael says the problem that he could have with Stanley is that the Patriots like to run 20-yard pass routes, and that's hard for any defensive back to cover a wide receiver for that long of a time. The only thing that he can count on is Howie Long and company putting pressure on Eason. On the other side, Stanley Morgan feels like if his quarterback gets time, there isn't a cornerback in the league that can cover him and Irving Fryer. It should lead to a very good matchup. We'll come back to talk about that at halftime. All right, back to you, Bob.
Okay, Ahmad, and you may have heard in the background Randy Newman's I Love L.A. We'll see whether the Patriots are singing that song about 3 hours from now. The Patriots are the subject of Pete Axthelm's essay when we return. From the big bad Raiders, will the New England Patriots be intimidated today? Not likely, says Pete Axthelm, because now they've got heart.
They have suffered for most of their history with the phrase, all that talent, so few results. They wear red, white, and blue, but fans know they are as American as feather bedding. Like the lucky guys who shoveled coal long after the trains had become electric, the New England Patriots always seem to find the easy way out of contention. Remember the early AFL days when the Patriots actually entered a title game and departed San Diego with a 41-point defeat? Then came 1976, when the Pats were about to devour the mighty Raiders, but the officials frowned on the table manners of Sugar Bear Hamilton, and Ken Stabler survived to enjoy the dessert. 2 years later, Coach Chuck Fairbanks left the party before the band even got tuned up. The talented Patriots finished the season on a very off-key note. Finally, let's blow a horn for former coach Cleve Rush. He once got so despondent that he asked the media covering the team to fill out a lineup. Now that's desperation. But it's time to bury the myths and superstitions. The Patriots have finally added courage and character to their talent. Even if they failed to get past the Raiders today, they will treasure this season as the one in which they rolled up their sleeves and learned at last to do things the hard way, which happens to be the very best way to win.
If you were with us yesterday, you saw Pete Axthelm reveal that he's been receiving hate mail from Giant fans. Hate mail, he says, was written in crayon. He responded with this prediction.
Sharpen up your Crayolas, Giant fans. I have more to tell you. The Bears are going to shut them out.
The Bears are going to shut them out at Soldier Field
tomorrow. Shut them down. Whatever color crayon you want to write the score in. Look for like 23-0 in that game. Bob, I apologize I didn't have the score exact. But Giant fans, this crayon's for you. A big 0. And I'm proud of it. I'm sorry we couldn't get the score exactly right.
Only a safety separated you from your 23-0 prediction. By the way, in light of all this antagonism, have they beefed up security around the place? The irate Giant fans are likely to be on the sidewalk by the time this is over.
I'm using this picket line of crayons to keep them out of here.
All right, very quickly, Patriots-Raiders.
Raiders are favored by 5.5. Raiders haven't allowed a touchdown in more than 10 periods. I think they'll keep it up. I think New England Super Bowl was last week. This is the day the Raiders will win. Raiders minus 5.5.
All right, Axe, the introductions are underway at the Coliseum. Let's go out there now and rejoin Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen. We'll see you at halftime.
Number 38, Roland James.
All right, Bob Costas, as you can see, even down at the far end, the peristyle end of the Coliseum, folks starting to settle in. That would mean a crowd that would be in the high 80s. The New England Patriots are being introduced now. There's the Pro Bowler at cornerback Raymond Claiborne, a good friend of Mike Haynes, who is a Pro Bowler also, the former Patriot, now with the Raiders, and the crowd salutes the silver and black, the Los Angeles Raiders, and Howie Long apparently will be introduced first. Howie Long, he voiced the feeling of these Raiders. They feel when they start each season that they are a Super Bowl champion. Anything less than that might as well be a losing year. 3 times Super Bowl champions. This year they have a design that would take them to their 4th and equal the Pittsburgh Steelers record. Took that run for 15 years on this turf with the Los Angeles Rams.
That's always a highly anxious moment down there. Those players really want to just get this game underway. It's the waiting that takes the emotional toll.
Both teams with plenty of class. 7 Pro Bowlers with the Patriots. The Raiders will have 4 men in that Pro Bowl game. There's one of them, Mike Haynes. And the Patriots play for the chance to meet Miami next week. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. First position that may be the most unpopular players on these 2 clubs.
The 2 quarterbacks, and obviously the quarterback has more opportunities to affect the outcome of the game positively and negatively than any other player on the field. Let's look first at Tony Eason, and he has had an up and down season. A season in which he was able to get off to a very bad start, sat out for a while with Grogan on the field, and came back and has played very well. Still has thrown 17 interceptions, part of the negative side of his job. One of those big interceptions, this play in the earlier game against the Raiders, there were 3 turnovers in that game, resulted in 21 Raider points.
And 2 of them were on-pass interceptions for touchdowns. That one by Lester Hayes. The other was by Sammy Seal. There have been some ugly banners chronicling the ill feeling that Patriot fans have toward Tony Eason. On the other hand, Mark Wilson, people don't seem to believe in him yet here in Los Angeles.
Well, the Raiders are quick to point out they've only lost 2 games with him at the helm. But Wilson has indeed had his ups and downs. What the Raiders would like to do is to take the burden and put it on Marcus Allen today. Let him run, as Eric Dickerson did yesterday. The Patriots, on the other hand, want to take away the running game, put all the pressure on Mark Wilson.
So basically, we could say that the defensive scheme for Raymond Berry and the Patriots, they want to take out Marcus Allen the best they can, force the Raiders to win with Marcus Wilson.
That's exactly what they'd like to do. Now, Dick, one other thing that I think is really worth mentioning here. If the Patriots are going to win today, they've got to be able to do something that is kind of interesting. They believe they have enough speed at the outside wide receiver positions, and Ahmad Rashad talked about it, to challenge the cornerbacks, Hayes and Haynes. If they can get time for their quarterback, Eason, and do that, they can force the Raiders to change their defensive scheme. That really gives them an advantage.
Well, a man in his own quiet, taciturn way that has done such an outstanding job and voted as the AFC Coach of the Year in a couple of polls already, Raymond Berry, the star with Unitas of that great sudden death game against the Giants back in 1958. Berry, a man who always overachieved, and he's asked a talented team to live up to their potential, and they have, winning 12 and losing 5 against a team that had the second best record, the Raiders, to the Chicago Bears, Tom Flory's LA team.
And on the other side of the field, I guess we probably have the two most placid coaches in the NFL. Flory's a little more animated, but they are a very calming and steadying effect on their two teams. And what a great record Flory's has.
The Patriots, Merlin Olsen, won the toss and elected to receive. In a game of this importance, sometimes coaches feel they'd like the other team to get the ball first, and maybe that's what Flory's is thinking about right now.
Both these teams, I think, a little more confident in their defenses, and indeed, you'd like to put your best unit on the field.
You saw that the Raiders have been to the well often and have succeeded. 3 Super Bowl championships, 2 and 4 limited playoff experience for the Patriots were underway. The spinning kick by Barr, deep down to Stephen Starring, 81 for the Patriots, and he is nailed at the 22-yard line. Return of about 25 yards for Starring, a former college quarterback. Here is that Patriot offense led by Tony Eason, third-year man from the University of Illinois. He'll be protected by an outstanding line. Pete Brock, the center. Those two fellas on the top, Holloway and Hanna, are Pro Bowlers. Wooten and Moore on the right side. Stanley Morgan and Irving Fryer, dangerous on the outside. Lynn Dawson, better blocker than pass receiver at tight end. Tony Collins and a 1,000-yard rusher, Craig James, the running backs behind Eason from the 21. Craig James for 4, maybe 5. Into that black jersey defense, and oh, how the Raiders love that image. They wanted to wear black. It's their favorite color. Piquel on the nose had a big season, had 12.5 sacks to lead the club, but it's Howie Long, who's just a brilliant player, and Sean Jones for the injured Lyle Alzado. The linebackers are Martin McKenzie, the rookie, Millen and Van Pelt. Hayes and Hayes, they like to play man-to-man. McElroy and Turan at safety. Morgan in motion. James again, a big hole, and Craig James has a first down at the 38. McElroy made the tackle.
Talking to Matt Millen just the other day, he said he thought the thing that James does best is cut back against the grain, starting to the outside and looking for that opening. He goes back inside, finds a gap in that defense, and is all the way into the secondary before they can get a hold of him.
Well, there's a player here in Los Angeles cheering for James today, Eric Dickerson, who set a new NFL playoff record yesterday. College backfield teammate of James at SMU. Eason to Collins, almost right into the arms of the Raiders.
Dick, James and Dickerson had dinner together on Friday night, and I asked James, I said, what did you tell him? He said, gee, I don't know, I wish I knew, but I hope he brings me as much luck as I brought him.
He wishes now he'd eaten the same meal that Dickerson did. 248 yards yesterday in the win just down the freeway in Anaheim to set a new NFL record. In fact, exploding Keith Lincoln's old mark, 42 yards better. From the 38. Outside and tripped up at the 43, maybe the 44. Bill Piquel made a good ankle tackle just as James trying to sprint into the clear.
Dick, I mentioned the importance of getting time for the quarterback to throw the football. Probably the most important factor in that is to be able to establish the running game. Both of these teams, I think, offensively coming out with the same thought. Make them respect our run game.
Patriots, 9th best offense, and the Raiders, the 4th best defense in the NFL. Eason with the crowd trying to help the Raiders. Collins outside, gets a block, and has a first down at the 50. Making the 49 of the Raiders. Barnes made the tackle, and Collins, a good ceiling block on the corner, was able to get outside for the first down.
Looking at it from the end zone, you'll see the little toss right here. And one of the nice things about this Patriot backfield is they are unselfish. Both Collins and James willing to block for each other. There was also a fine block on that play by tight end Dawson, Len Dawson.
John Hanna, 73, the All-Pro, 8 consecutive Pro Bowls, also out there throwing the key block. First down, first invasion of Raider territory. Eason, complete, and is it a completed pass?
Yes, it is.
And the Patriots, no, now they wave it off. No signal initially, and then the sign. Stanley Morgan not able to tuck that one away.
Let's go back and take a peek at that. You remember, he's only got to get both feet down on the ground after he gains control of that football until it's declared a legal reception.
No, he did not get both feet.
All right, he's hiding in there behind a defender, but the officials, looking from another angle, had that one cold.
Morgan, the all-time career leader for the Patriots, and the best yardage per catch ever in the NFL, averaging 20.5 yards every time he's caught one. James, and the corner shut off by Howie Long. Colorful defensive star from Villanova, Howie Long.
Howie singled up on the right side. He moves all up and down that line. You saw Holloway getting a hold of his face mask there. Now, I guarantee you that Howie Long will make him pay for that somewhere during the game.
A loss of a yard. It'll be 3rd and 11. Just underway. 3 minutes have been played. Patriots with the opening kickoff, driving to midfield, and now 3rd and long for Eason, and he's in big trouble. Sean Jones, number 99. He's played 3 games since Alzado was injured, 5.5 sacks in those 3 games, and he picks up a -14 on that play.
Jones will come from the right side as Eason is back in the shotgun, and there is no protection there. Howie Long coming from that right end position. Pickell, there are 5 Raiders there. That's a jailbreak on Eason, and that's not a good sign for this Patriot offense.
To kick, Rich Camarillo, 5th best punter in average this year with that 42.9 mark. Fulton Walker, who set an NFL record for yardage returned on punt.
That's a line driver.
21. Fumble, free ball, and who's got it? No signal yet. It appeared that a white jersey was on it, but then they were in a tug-of-war.
They're still in a tug-of-war down there. Some of the best fights in football are at the bottom of those stacks when the fumble is loose.
It's New England's ball, and the first big break goes to the Patriots. Raymond Berry's special teams come up with a fumble of Fulton Walker.
One of the big concerns of this offensive team, at least the special teams, was the line drive punt. Fulton Walker had it there, and too much time, I think. That ball loose on the ground, and there is the ball being picked up. Here's the look from the other side of the field.
And number 28, Jim Bowman, a rookie from Central Michigan, will be late coming in on the play. And there he is on the right of your screen. Apparently he's the man who covered the ball. His first fumble recovery. He was talking to me yesterday. He said, I want to make a big play tomorrow.
Yeah, he's made a big one here early.
Didn't take long. So the break for the Patriots from the Raider 22. A pass play. James is 2 for 2. Make it 3 for 3 this year. He hits Tony Collins. The only difference with that one from those during the regular season is other 2 went for touchdowns.
A real heady play by James. His first look on that play was downfield to Irving Fryer, looking for the touchdown. Looked like he finally was able to turn back inside and realizing that that was a dangerous pass, through the safe pass.
A gain of about 7.5. So it's 2nd and a long 2. Touchdown, Lynn Dawson, the tight end.
And just as the
Chicago Bears had capitalized on a giant mistake in that game earlier today. The Patriots come up with a touchdown off the turnover on special teams. That's a good scramble by Eason getting to the outside. This was something that the Raider defense was concerned about. He runs well. He gets extra time here. He throws it to a man who's well covered. Dawson covered by 30, Turan, but he throws it high enough to get over Turan's hands and into the hands of the tight end.
What a great throw. The 6'3 Dawson leaping high above the defender. Tony Franklin adds the extra point. A 13-yard touchdown from Eason to Lynn Dawson. Dawson did not catch a touchdown pass all year, but he has a big one early in this playoff. The former Miami Dolphin acquired by the Raiders this year. He muffed that punt of Camarillo to set up the Patriots at the Raider 21. 2 plays later, New England leads 7-0.
Important that we point out that he is one of the reasons that the Raiders had such a great year, setting a new punt return record. Very often players in this game just a little tight at the beginning.
The kickoff by Tony Franklin. His boots have been short, and so it is. At the 13, Walker gets another chance. And he's making the most of it at the 40. He's out to the 50-yard line. Fulton Walker makes amends. Well, that's the positive. Let's go back to the play that set up the Patriots score.
I think one of the things that happened to Fulton Walker on that punt is that it came so quickly to him that he knew he had a chance at a big return, and he was able to get his eye on it, but then took his eyes and put him down the field, and it was too late. That ball was rolling on the ground.
Raiders' first play from scrimmage. Who else but Marcus Allen gets the call, and he fumbles. And Todd Christensen was able to cover it back at the 41-yard line, but the whistle had blown the play dead, so that's a gain of a yard for Marcus Allen. Let's check that Raider offense with Mark Wilson at the controls. The offensive line, big. Mosbar, maybe the tallest center in the league, with Marvin and Hannett guards. Davis and Lawrence at tackle. Christensen is the tight end. Hester and Williams are the wideouts, with Wilson and the blocker Frank Hawkins, or Allen and the blocker Hawkins behind Wilson. Looking for Christensen. Instead, it is intercepted by the Patriots. Ronnie Lepet at the 36-yard line. Lepet diving in front of the intended receiver, and New England has turned it over again.
We talked about the big plays by the quarterback. We've seen the touchdown by Eason, the positive play, the negative side right there. Dokie Williams looking for that ball, but Lepet comes up with it in his hands.
Young man from the University of Miami in Florida said, "My name isn't Lippett, it's Lepet." No one would believe him until they played down against the Dolphins, and his friend said, "Hey, Lepet." So finally, just a couple of games ago, they got the right pronunciation.
They did get it right, and happily so. And he doesn't care what you call him. Just say, "Hey, I intercepted that football."
From the 36, Craig James. Little misdirection did not fool the Raiders. Number 54, Reggie McKenzie, up to make the tackle, the rookie from Tennessee. That was the first throw by Wilson in playoff competition. He mopped up for Jim Plunkett in Super Bowl 17, but did not throw a pass, and his first pass today is intercepted, and that's why the folks here have been grumbling about Wilson, even though he's 11-2 as a starter after the injury to Jim Plunkett. Cornerbacks of the Raiders right up on the line of scrimmage. Eason down the middle, wide open is tight end Derek Ramsey, and a first down at the 36 of the Raiders.
The Raiders' scheme of defense tries to make you play on the long field. They cover everyone tight and count on the pass rush to force the quarterback to throw before he's ready. Look at how much time Eason had. And because of that, they were able to get the tight end open down the middle. There he is coming down, Derek Ramsey, a former Raider himself. And apparently someone either blew that coverage, well, maybe McElroy late in getting there. Hard to tell. It might have been a linebacker who should have been on him early.
29 yards on the play, and a First down for New England. They lead 7-0, and James ducking in for a yard.
Dick, this quick start by New England may offer them another option. One of the questions that was asked, can they play the kind of conservative football they played in the last part of the season with Eason at the helm against the Raiders and win? With a fast start, touchdown on the board, and another quick turnover, they may be able to do that.
And they have to have their feelings buoyed by the fact they scored against that Raider defense. LA did not allow a touchdown in the last 2.5 games. Collins wrapped up by McKenzie. Long was there as well. But Reggie McKenzie, he and his twin brother out of the University of Tennessee, both as long shots. Reggie, a 10th round pick. His brother Raleigh, I believe, was an 11th round choice of the Skins, and they both made NFL rosters, and Reggie as a starter.
Yeah, a lot of people, I think, asleep at the switch this year that this young man didn't get more recognition as Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's been in that starting lineup and performing well all year long.
A loss of 5 on the play to make it 3rd and 14. Both wide receivers to the right. Morgan split left. And they run James left. And apparently either false movement or delay of game.
I think the clock had run out on him, and they are going to charge them for delay of game.
Jerry Markbright, the referee.
Delay of game. Offense. Third down.
While we have a chance, we might note that this is a hybrid crew. These are not officials that have worked with each other all season long, but by merit have been joined here. There's 160 years of officiating experience represented by the Zebras today. 87 college years and 73 combined years in the NFL. Not much there. To the 42-yard line, they're out of field goal range, we would think. And yes, Rich Camarillo will come in. Rod Martin spearheaded that defensive charge.
I think that's the conservatism that I talked about a little earlier. Running in an obvious passing situation out of that shotgun. Barry's philosophy, very simply, let's not make the mistakes. Let's make them beat us. Let's not beat ourselves.
There's Raymond Barry, boyish looking 52. 20th round draft choice himself for the Colts, now a Hall of Famer. Fulton Walker at the 10 for the Raiders. Blocked! And it takes a big Raider bounce all the way to the 20. Raiders ball at the New England 16. Recovered. Greg Townsend, 93, was a man who hammered it right off the foot of Camarillo.
The New England Patriots got the quick break on a turnover on special teams, and the Raiders come right back to force the mistake here. Townsend stretching out right to the foot of Camarillo, and they have it on the 16-yard line.
That's a 44-yard play for the Raiders. Marcus Allen for about 4.
Here's the tail end of that play. You see the stretch and the knockaway right there. That ball going right back. He really caught a hold of that. Knocked it in the air some 20-25 yards. And then there's the ball rolling. Barnes there to get it. Grab it, but he's down on the spot.
Allen carrying for 4 yards. As you look at Greg Townsend, man who be the big defensive play from Texas Christian University, a third-year defensive end. Raiders trying to tie it up. 5 minutes left, first quarter. Wilson through the hands of Christensen. Todd Christensen, who caught 82 passes this year. Again, leading the Raiders. He's averaged 85 catches the last 3 years.
Wilson making a good choice and a good throw here, and the usually reliable Christensen. Well, it is thrown behind him, but believe me, that's the kind of catches he makes day in and day out, practicing on the field. You've got to hang on to that kind, especially when you've got a chance to get in there and score some points.
3rd and 6. Threw it away. Dokie Williams on the back line of the end zone, but Wilson didn't take any chances. Fires it away, and you hear the boos of the Raider fans.
I think Mark, feeling the heat from the fans and the sideline as well, turned to the sideline right after that play to partly explain his action. I think there was a defender between himself and Dokie Williams. He put that one over the top to avoid the interception.
Veteran Chris Barr to try the field goal. It will be about 30 yards, as you see Dokie Williams running his pattern. Wilson to hold. And the Raiders have 3. Greg Townsend's block punt leads to a Barr field goal. It's 7-3 Patriots.
The 20, but if they mark it back to the 10, that was a little bit of a costly mistake.
Illegal block, number 51, on the run back.
Brian Ingram guilty of the foul. And so New England will start from just inside its 10-yard line. Special teams, Merlin, why is it when we get to the playoffs, you usually see more conservative play, more running, but also the big plays on special teams?
I think in part, Dick, it's because emotions are running so high, and that means players are a little bit faster. Maybe their decisions are not quite as good. That decision was not good, the block on the back.
Each of the 2 games today featuring a big early special teams play. Landana's failure to punt leading to the Bears' first score, and we've had 2 big turnovers here. Eason going again to the tight end, Ramsey. That's the 3rd completion to the tight end, 1 for a touchdown to Lynn Dawson. Matt Millen on the coverage. We'll be selecting the Michelob Most Valuable Player for today's game. Why don't you watch along, see whom you would select as today's top honor. We'll have that for you later in the game. Sun trying to break through. There is some blue sky off to our right toward the east. After morning showers, field is in superb condition. 2nd and 5. Tony Collins stopped short. Former star at East Carolina, who has become quite an outstanding blocker, helping Craig James, and has handed off the star running role to his teammate Craig James, and he's doing the blocking for him.
Down in the trenches, the good nose tackle, Bill Pickell against Pete Brock. Let's just turn it loose and watch these 2 gladiators hammer it out down there on the line of scrimmage. Brock with that good leg drive. You saw him driving Pickell off the ball. If that continues, you'll see more and more plays up inside.
3rd and 1. James, he doesn't make it. Howie Long there. And the hole was filled along by Sean Jones.
Well, Pickell was driven off the ball the last time. What happens here? Pickell pushes Brock into the hole. Well, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. It's 1-1, at least in the last 2 plays, between Pickell and Brock. And between great players, that's the kind of battle you have. I'll win 1, you'll win 1. You look at the end of the day to see who has that little bit of an edge.
Camarillo will punt from around his 10. Walker back at the Raider 38. Whoa, that was close to being blocked. Terrific kick. Walker at the 32. 40, dances to the 44. 49-yard punt, 17 yards on the return. Mosi Tatupo eventually will make the tackle. Look how close Camarillo came from a second one being blocked. Lineup of college basketball on NBC, perhaps our best schedule ever, so we'll look forward to sharing all the excitement in the colleges and universities around the country January, February, and March. First down, Raiders at their 44. Marcus Allen outside to the New England 48-yard line. That was Allen's 3rd carry of the game. He picks up 8 yards and has 12 for the first quarter.
Well, and in Al McGuire's terminology, I think that's an aircraft carrier right there.
Well, he's more than a PT boat. Allen, who led The National Football League with those 1,759 yards, led in total yards, in fact set a new NFL record. He picked up another 555 on pass receptions, 67 catches. Allen again, hurtling to the 45, appears to have a first down. Andre Tippett made the tackle.
We mentioned Andre Tippett and the impact and the intensity that he brings to the game. He is so strong, 240 pounds. Look at him attack Todd Christensen there, and then just throw Christensen to the side and quickly get inside to make the play.
He certainly would rate an impact player. Tippett, 16.5 sacks. That was just a half a sack behind the NFL leader, Richard Dent. Howie Long will be watching him, although only 10 sacks. That's misleading.
He's created more than that, believe me.
Allen, a little delay. On first down, has 2 or 3 yards. In fact, Howie Long said he's going to paint himself like a duck. I said, why? He said, because I'm a decoy. I might as well look like one.
Well, they move him up and down the line, Dick, and they really do force a team to look for Howie Long. You talk to Roddy Manning from that offensive line in New England. He said that's the first thing you do. Where's Howie? And then you work from there.
And that's probably how the Raiders feel about Tippett. Where is he? Second and long. Wilson. Ooh, dangerously close to being tipped into the hands of the Patriots. Todd Christensen. Pass was a bit too tall. Julius Adams applying pressure on Wilson.
Julius Adams playing in his last year of football, and certainly if they win, he goes on. He said, this is the longest I've ever played. I can't believe he's still the quickest off the ball of those defensive linemen for the Patriots. You saw how it paid off there. He was the man that forced the early pass from Mark Wilson.
Julius, who will retire at the end of this season, go back to his home in Macon, Georgia. He has a farm raising Black Angus cattle. Wilson, and he has the first down inside the 35.
That ball rolled loose as Wilson hit the ground. Jerry Markbright quickly there to say not a fumble. It will be first down, Raiders. And that's something that Mark Wilson has done more and more effectively as the season goes on. Watch Tippett. He is going to chase Wilson at the end of this play, and watch him try and reach for the ball. Right here. Tries to snap that ball out of Wilson's hand. Mark carrying it low. A dangerous play. Could not quite reach that football.
Garin Veras, a rookie from Stanford, number 60, finally made the tackle. First down, Raiders at the New England 34. Final seconds, first quarter. Marcus Allen. 2 or 3 hard-earned yards for Allen, who has been described as unreal, and he had even a better season than those in the past. He scored 58 touchdowns in the 56 games in which he's carried the ball. Final seconds tick away, and that is the end of the first quarter in Los Angeles. The Patriots 7, the Raiders 3. The key statistics, New England using the fumble recovery to get a touchdown, and the Raiders the blocked punt. Actually not statistically an official turnover, but you have to think of it in that regard, and they got 3 out of it.
That big 0 in passing yardage, I'm sure, jumped out at all of you at home. Mark Wilson has yet to get this passing game for the Raiders on track.
Start the second quarter, second down and 7. Marcus. Is he clever? Always seems to be just that half step out of your reach. That's when you close in on him. It appeared that the Patriots might have him for no gain. He picks up 5, slithering to the outside.
Eager on that play to get upfield, but still waited carefully all the way out.
Allen, 6'2", a sleek 205 pounds. Doki Williams and Jesse Hester to the right. Todd Christensen, the tight end, to the left. 3rd and 2. Wilson tipped and incomplete. Intended for Todd Christensen, one of the New England defenders. It appeared to be Roland James at safety, able to get a hand on it. 55 Don Blackman there as well. And here comes Chris Barr in the field goal unit. Wilson will hold. told it'll be a fairly long attempt by Barr, who kicked his longest of the season in the last game against the Rams, a 51-yarder. This one will be 45. Hits the upright and skids to the outside. No good. So Barr, a bit unlucky, hits the wrong side of the bar, and it's wide right, and it remains 7-3 New England with 14:10 left in the half. Tough, we prove it by exceptionally smooth Michelob. Where you're going, it's Michelob. And by John Hancock Financial Services, meeting today's needs with a range of financial products. 14 minutes and 10 seconds left in the second quarter. The New England Patriots leading the favored Los Angeles Raiders 7-3. The missed 44-yard field goal by Barr, and Eason sets up at the 27. Good protection. He goes deep, and the closest player was McElroy, the safety of the Raiders. One receiver, Fryer, went to the inside, and Morgan to the outside, and Eason threw between them.
Both the wide receivers off to the right on that particular play, and they were trying to force that ball deep, get it deep. They're still trying to get that speed match against those Raider corners.
Hayes and Haynes at the corners, each with 4 interceptions this year. Lester did not make it to the Pro Bowl, and Mike Haynes was selected again. Howie Long right on the nose. And they try to run in that direction with Tony Collins. Jeff Barnes secures the tackle.
We asked Pete Brock what it's like to have Howie Long on his nose. A little bit of his answer, but there's Howie, who comes inside. One of the things that makes him so tough, and Pete told me this before the game, is that Howie can rip with either arm. He's not either predominantly right-handed or left-handed. That means he can go either way. You can't overplay him.
Eason on 3rd and 8 has to eat it. Mike Davis, for the second time they used Davis on a safety blitz, and it's worked on both occasions. The Raiders were second only to the Bears in sack count. They had 65 in the regular season.
Coming from the left-hand side of your screen, number 36, Mike Davis. And one of the defenders there leaning in before he should have taken his concentration. That's Wooten, number 61, the guard, who's the option pickup man. Did not see Davis coming, and it was a costly mistake.
Camarillo to punt. Fulton Walker back at the Raider 38. Wobbly boot. Walker at the 34. Ooh, juggles. Stays on his feet. And he's to the 47-yard line. 47-yard kick, 13 yards on the return by Fulton Walker, former West Virginia Mountaineer. Timeout, 12:48 remaining in the half. Merlin Olsen, I would like to own one of the airlines that fly from Oakland, San Francisco to Los Angeles on football weekends. A lot of those fans are from Oakland.
You bet they are. There's still a loyal group of them that come all the way down here for games week in and week out.
Marcus Allen. His longest run takes the Raiders to the 39, and with it a flag. They have been a face mask. 14 yards on the carry by Allen.
We have a 5-yard face mask foul on number 31, defense. It's first down.
So Fred Marion tagged for 5 more.
Right at the end of that last play, you see the hand reaching in by Marion, and you see Marcus's head snap back underneath that pile. Good vision by the official to spot that one. Marcus is stretching his knee as he lays there on the ground. They're out to check him out, and of course,
Kenny King has replaced him in the backfield. Wilson. There's his first completion. It goes to Dopey Williams on the near sidelines at the 21-yard line. First down, 13 yards on the play.
Got to believe that Mark Wilson saying to himself, all right, finally got one of those suckers in. Dokie Williams able to get Lippett to turn away and then broke into the sideline. It was a fine play by the Raiders. They put a lot of pressure on you. They like to run those patterns deep, and they're a little out of sequence. Looks like Marcus is all right on the sideline. That's good news.
King, who carried for only 67 yards all season. Instead, it's to Hawkins. The big pullback from Nevada Reno, plowing to the Patriot 13-yard line. Larry McGrew made the tackle.
We usually see Frank Hawkins in his role as blocker for Marcus. Here the role is reversed. Number 73, Charlie Hanna, playing here on the same field with his brother Hog Hanna, gets a good block on that play on Don Blackman 55 to help make that run possible.
We'll see, of course, John Hog Hanna when the Patriots have the ball. Allen is back in and leaping close to a first down. Appears to be about a half-yard shy at the 10.
I talked to Hog Hanna, and he said that he and Charlie were going to have dinner on Friday night. And I said, you going to talk football? He said, no, it's against the rules. But he said, I'm going to tell him he looks a little tired, and I hope he can take a rest while I go on to the Super Bowl.
Well, they both wear the same number, easy to spot, 73. There's Hog Hanna. Some have called him the greatest lineman ever. Charlie, who has played both guard and tackle, now settling into the guard position. It's enough for the first down. And the ball spotted just outside the 10, so Tom Flores' Raiders can get a first down without a touchdown.
Larry Kennan signaling from the sideline there as he stands next to Tom Flores. The Raiders went to a signal system to call the plays when Plunkett went down with his injury. Mark Wilson having the plays called for him. That's a first for this Raider team.
Doing that dance of his, looking for the opening. A flag is down. It's interesting that Steve Grogan was calling his own plays for the Patriots until he was injured. So the veterans, Grogan and Plunkett, called their own plays, whereas their replacements have them signaled in.
And I think, Dick, that those are two of the last quarterbacks, along with the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks, that are going to have that option. That's a dying breed, the quarterback that calls his own play.
Holding number 65, offense, first down.
Mickey Marvin, the right guard. First Los Angeles penalty. Remember back when Paul Brown was succeeding year in, year out with the Browns, and he used the messenger guards, and everyone thought, oh, that'll never catch on, sending in your plays from the sidelines. Well, Brown, as was the case in so many areas, ahead of his time by a couple of decades. Now everyone's doing it. Steve Grogan. He was activated a couple of days ago as a couple of screws in that broken tibia around the knee of the left leg. You saw that injury against the Jets back a month and a half ago. After the penalty, wide open, touchdown, Hester. Jesse Hester. From Florida State, the Raiders' #1 draft pick, and Los Angeles leads for the first time. Barr's extra point down the middle. 53-yard drive in just 6 plays. Wilson to Hester, 16 yards for the touchdown.
Jesse Hester had some trouble early in the year working into this new system. Great speed, and you see right there some pretty shifty moves. That little shake absolutely froze Raymond Claiborne just long enough to let Mark Wilson get that pass off. Look at Claiborne trying to react, but he's too late, coming inside out, and Hester has the touchdown.
At the other end, Mark Wilson. Yeah, he knows the way and has to be pleased that he has his first touchdown throw this afternoon.
We talked about the two young quarterbacks making the big plays positively and negatively. Wilson is glad to see that positive touchdown on the board in his column.
Wilson, part of that tremendous line of quarterbacks to graduate out of Brigham Young University. Raymond Berry back to his notepad.
That's Ron Humanik he's talking to. Humanik has done a great job of working with the offensive line. They cut their sacks by 60% on the year.
Barr kicks it off. Short to the side, and on the wing it is Cedric Jones, toppled at the 24-yard line. So Eason and the New England offense on the field. Otis McKinney made the tackle along with Fulton Walker. Here comes Eason. Brother Bo is here, former star at UC Davis, Houston Oilers defensive back, rooting for his older brother. Patriots start from their 23. 10-7. Raiders lead for the first time. 10 and a half minutes left in the half. Tupu fumbles, and the Raiders have it. Howie Long was in control before he went out of bounds. He's everywhere.
They gave you a look earlier at the impact players, Howie Long and Andre Tippett, and it doesn't take Howie Long to make the impact here as he scoops that football up, and if he could have gotten himself up the sideline, he'd have had a touchdown. Let's see if we can see who knocks that ball loose. Looked like Rod Martin, number 53, reaching in, and then the collision right there. That ball already started to break loose. Stacy Turan put his head right on the ball.
So they start from the 17-yard line, a pickup of a yard or two by Marcus. Here's a handsome giant, Howie Long, quite a character. He admits he's on his own planet. He said he's going to stay there for about 10 more years. When he retires, he's going to become a normal human being.
Well, the Raiders have defensively done this all year. They put enough pressure on you to force the mistake. And that's something that the Patriots have really played well. They have last week against the Jets, 0 turnovers. It was the key to their win, I think. Today, they have made some of those mistakes.
And Tupu, who rarely fumbles, coughs it up on his only carry of the half.
What do you call those in tennis? In tennis, forced errors? Those are not unforced errors. Those are forced errors.
Ball at the 15-yard line. The officials talking with both sidelines. I don't know if the communications from the press box are out, if that's what that's all about.
Well, if it is, you'll see them take off the headsets on both sides of the field.
Or there might be a malfunction in the clock. Well, Mr. Mark Bright perhaps will tell us. Motioning at the big clock at the far right of the Coliseum.
Yeah, we're told that it's one of the clocks, I guess the clock on the right-hand side that is not working, so...
Tupu fumbled only once all season and has it knocked away by Rod Martin today. It's 2nd down and 8 at the 15.
A quiet man, Raymond Berry, but what intensity he's brought to his team. Quiet intensity, but it is there.
Right at their 10-7 lead, the Raiders. Allen is wide open, but good reaction by Raymond Claiborne to stop him for a short gain of 3.
How often you see a player victimized, makes a bad play, and that energy and that emotion and that adrenaline is pumping. Claiborne comes right back and makes a big play there to keep Allen, who is so deceptive in the open field, from making any yards after he caught that pass.
Another whistle by referee Jerry Markbright as he looks at that clock.
Dick, I talked about the intensity of Raymond Berry.
There's a problem with the clock. We're checking on the clock.
Okay, we'll let you do it, Jerry.
30 seconds clock working.
Pete Brock talked about Berry this way. He said, if a guy with his integrity and honesty tells you he can win, tells you that you can win, pretty soon you start to believe him. And I think maybe that was the most important contribution that Raymond Berry made to this New England team, was convincing them that they could win, and then helping to show them how to do it for many, many years.
Allen. Touchdown, but a flag is down. Beautiful blocking by the Raiders, but perhaps in the way they're reacting,
shaky start. These New England Patriots very quickly establishing the silver and black, establishing their dominance here in the first half.
So the fumble recovered by Howie Long at the 17. A couple of plays later, Marcus Allen from 11 yards out. And now the Raiders have moved into a 17-7 lead.
Marcus Allen behind the block of 27 Hawkins. Get a block inside Mickey Marvin and Henry Lawrence. And then he just puts it in the air to go over the goal line. You wonder why Marcus is open on that play. You get a chance by seeing some of the good blocks there. But right at the end of that play, that has to hurt to come down after being twisted like that and dropped right on your back.
Well, you've heard that expression, nose for the goal line, a desire to get in the end zone. That picture would be the illustration in the football dictionary. Less than 2 minutes, the Raiders have gone from 7-3 down to lead 17-7.
That last play. There's the block by Hawkins, 27. Really a nice block to help open the way.
31. Fred Marion looking back as if to say, what was that, a guided missile going through there? So the Patriots, after an early 7-0 lead, have seen the Raiders flex their muscles and with 8:53 left in the half need to do something themselves to turn it around.
Raymond Berry may have to change his philosophy a little bit. May have to start reaching for the big play, reaching for the big ball. They have played through the latter part of the season very close to the vest, very conservatively. In this kind of game, especially when you're down by 10 points, you got to go for the big ones.
Barr to kick it off. Stephen Starring is the deep man. Well kicked. Starring will take the touchback at the 20, and let's pause for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. With Merlin Olsen, this is Dick Enberg. Welcome to the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, where the Raiders lead the New England Patriots 17-7 in the final of the 4 playoff games this weekend. The 2 NFC games decided by shutout. The Rams winning 20-0 yesterday, and today the Bears over the Giants 21-0. Miami had to scramble from behind to knock off the upstart Cleveland Browns. And here, after the Patriots led early, the Raiders taking charge, and Craig James rumbling for 16 yards on that first down carry before Turan and McElroy, the 2 safeties, can bring him down.
Howie Long from his left end position working on big Steve the House Moore. You just see Steve's head right there. Steve has got to be about, what, 305, 310. They listed him at 285. There's no scale I know of that would register in that way, but he locked up Howie Long on that play and neutralized him.
First down across the 35. James again to the 39. Home field advantage. Of course, the very fact that a team is home in the playoffs means they've had a better record, Merlin Olsen.
They earned that. They really earned it, Dick. Beyond that, here in the Coliseum, I would not feel that this would have as much advantage to the Raiders as New England's home field at Sullivan Stadium would have to their team. Weather is not a factor. It's nice today. This is not a noisy crowd, in part because of the build of this stadium.
Wide open is James, 40, 50, all the way to the Raider 37-yard line goes Jesse Craig James.
Well, you want a little razzle-dazzle. You want someone to go for the big plays. Raymond Berry pulling it out. Les Steckel calls the plays upstairs. A little bootleg and a rollout. It fools the Raider defense, and James all alone makes a big gain on that play.
Here's the other end of it as James. He was 15 yards in the open when he caught the ball and then just sprinted up the sidelines before Jerry Robinson knocked him out of bounds at the Raider 37. 7 minutes, 22 seconds remaining, first half. Eason. Stanley Morgan, one-hand catch. Morgan was so casual about that, didn't think he had it. He just reached out and hooked it as he went out of bounds. And watch Morgan, 86, a great start from Tennessee. And Eason scrambling, and Morgan had to ad-lib his way to the outside, and look at that. Hello. Oh, he did not have control as he went out of bounds. He was green. His back to our point of view. It appeared that he had made the play, but shows you the adroit skill of Stanley Morgan. 2nd and 10 from the 37. Tupu, he's in the open. To the 15-yard line, Mosi Tupu. He played here in this field for Southern California and blocked for Anthony Davis and Ricky Bell, Charlie White.
From the opposite side of the field, you'll get a chance to sense this play. Tupu cutting back against the grain. Play started to the left, taking advantage of a quick slide by the defense. Tupu with good vision and good movement gets downfield. He's usually a blocker, not necessarily a running back.
His longest run of the year was 11 yards. He doubled it on that carry. James breaking a tackle, and he's inside the 10-yard line. Rod Martin made the hit, and all you have to do is find a number 32, and you're going to see some offensive action today.
Extra effort. What happens after that first contact? I think that's how you measure the great backs, at least one of the ways. And James giving you that extra effort, giving you that surge, good leg power to get about 3 or 4 extra yards after he was hit.
2nd down and 4. 17-7 Raiders. Collins, nothing there. It appeared the hole that Collins wanted was totally shut off, trying to dart to the right and gained only a yard. Reggie McKenzie there first.
They love to run in behind the big left side of that line. Hog Hanna, Brian Holloway, 2 Pro Bowlers over there. When you put a back in behind them like that, there's usually room to run. But Reggie McKenzie did a good job of shutting it off from his linebacking position. Not much at all there. On a 3rd down now, lots of substitutions in. Critical play, New England offense.
Plenty of time remaining in the first half. They go with a 3rd wide receiver, Cedric Jones. He's to the right. Eason drilling it, incomplete. A flag is down. Howie Long might have been offside.
There was movement along the line. I don't know whether it was Howie or one of the offensive linemen. We'll let Jerry Markwright sort it out.
If it's against the Raiders, it's a 1st down for New England.
Offside. Defense. 1st down.
That means that Jerry Markwright didn't know who it was. And Howie says, who is it? Who did it? I want to know. Well, sometimes you just see that black helmet and that silver along the line. Maybe we can show it to you. Let's see who is offsides. Well, right there, and it looked to me like Holloway may have started to bail out a little early. I don't blame the Raiders for being upset, and Long, who was on Holloway, was complaining because of that.
He reacted to his opponent's backward move. Indeed, he was into that neutral zone and encroachment, but his argument, he was pulled in there. With the penalty, it's 1st and goal inside the 5.
What a nice drive, strong drive by that New England offense.
But not for that last call, though. They'd be lining up for a field goal instead of 1st and goal.
Howie's still talking to those officials. Here's that shot again. Now there's the movement by Holloway. He cannot start back. That's drawing Howie out of his position.
That's an advantage of not being down in a 3-point stance. It's not as obvious when you're pulling back. Collins wrapped up, no gain. Stacy Turan in his 2nd year from Notre Dame. He has replaced Mike Davis now at that strong safety position. 30 Turan.
2 very fine defenses on the field. We saw the Patriot defense earlier in this kind of situation. In fact, after that first turnover, forced forced the Raiders to go for the field goal, kept them out of the end zone. Right now it's the Raiders who are trying to do that to the Patriots. You saw Tom Ramsey there signaling. We'll look at that again later. Ramsey signaling in the plays to Eason from the sideline.
See more involved in his signals than we've seen some teams use. And he is dropped after a 2-yard gain. McElroy and McKenzie. That's a Big Mac tackle.
We mentioned that this offense loves to run in there behind Hog Hanna and Brian Holloway on the left side of that line. They get Pete Brock lined up in there. They got 3 number 1 picks with those 3 side to side in there, and they were just hammering on that play.
Timeout called by New England with 3 minutes and 42 seconds remaining in the first half. Critical 3rd down coming up for the Patriots. With just under 4 minutes left in the half. 3rd and goal from just outside the 2-yard line. New England trying to close within 3. They don't want a field goal. They've talked it over on the sidelines. Shotgun. And a handoff to James. He's got a blocker. He's got a touchdown. Hog Hanna pulling, and that little inside handoff out of the shotgun that has worked so well for the Patriots throughout the year.
You wonder why a man has been called the best lineman in all of football's history, professional history. We'll show you in a moment what Hog Hanna did on that play. And just a moment ago, we saw him burying somebody on the play previous. But, Dick, the secret to that play is the ability of this team to run out of that spread formation. Very few teams have the good running plays out of the spread formation.
Tony Franklin to try the point after. Snap, but a good job on the hold by Eason. And it's 17-14. Hog Hanna, number 73.
John Hanna, right in the middle of your screen. Here he is, folks. He's just going to step out of there and pull to the outside and lead that convoy. Here he comes. I don't think I'd want to get in his way. Look at it right here. Stacy Turan, right at the ankles, and takes him off his feet. A lot of folks can make a touchdown if you get that kind of blocking.
Well, a lot of folks have never thrown or tasted a cross-body block, and that was the illustration. Watch it again. 73, right down there, hitting and rolling, and Turan with no chance, and James stepping into the end zone to make it 17-14.
It's the little forward handoff. Again, Raymond Berry has only had a year to get his offensive program established in New England. He was there for a short time last year, but he has only had a year to really put in the kind of offense he wants. And I asked him, do you have everything in? He shook his head. He said, no way. But it's more important for us to work on execution than it is to have a huge number of offensive plays.
And something else, Ray Berry is always thinking this year in the minicamp, he had all of his wide receivers work out one whole day as a defensive back. They practiced as a defensive back, went to the defensive back meeting and said, maybe you'll pick up something, just one little item that'll help you as a wide receiver understanding the men you're working against. Fulton Walker caught and fumbles, and who's got it? The Raiders. Oh my, Walker trying to break free from that initial hit and was really nailed on the second wave and lost the ball, but fortunately for the Raiders, it winds up in Matt Millen's hands.
Maybe we can see this. Those of you who weren't with us early, Fulton Walker had a fumble on a punt that set up the first touchdown by New England, and that's just a fine play by Williams coming from the backside. Ed Williams, number 95.
Ed
Reynolds to knock that ball loose. He's the guy that plays behind Andre Tippett. He doesn't get much flying time there.
Johnny Revert, 52, held him up, and then Reynolds made the hit. Marcus Allen trying to reverse and finally has to eat it for a loss at the 15-yard line. Let's go back to the play that could have been so critical. Patriots almost coming back with the football.
Watching it all the way into the hands there. Now watch the hit. Now this is something else that Raymond Berry has had his team working on, is stripping the football, working to knock that ball loose. And you saw the arm rip in there behind. Boy, I tell you, it's tough to hang on to that football when you're being clobbered and somebody is ripping up underneath there with an arm.
Allen losing 4 yards on the first carry as Tony Eason checking with upstairs. Wilson intercepted. The Patriots have it at the 28-yard line. Ronnie Lepet has his second steal of a Wilson pass in the first half. Not well thrown at all.
Mark Wilson very upset, I think, with Dokie Williams, his receiver. He is throwing to a point on the field that somebody's looked like Lepet
knew where it was going.
He knew where it was going much better than Dokie Williams did. And Dokie has got to drive for that football. That's a timing pattern. Although the Raider quarterbacks are trained not to throw that football until that receiver is driving out of the break. That ball in the air a little bit early.
30-second clock shut down completely. Would you please shut the 30-second clock down? It's not operating.
Well, that's one way to take care of it. 2 minutes and 43 seconds remaining in the half, and the Patriots, after it appeared that the Raiders really had taken charge of the half, scoring 17 unanswered points, suddenly New England with a chance for the lead.
And another of those big negative plays by Mike Wilson.
Tony Eason with Robert Weathers in the backfield, along with Craig James, and that's James following Weathers and right into the midst of Rod Martin.
One of the things you have to know about this group in that black and silver uniform is that they don't quit on the field. They don't know how to do that. One of the big play people right there, 53, Rod Martin. I got playing with him in the dressing room the other day, put a hammer lock on him. He had me on the ground before I could wiggle. He's a powerful player, a big play linebacker for that Raider team.
2nd and 9. There's a comparison of the two lead runners. Craig James, 53 yards. Marcus Allen, 55, each with a touchdown. Whistle, and
no, we don't have a 30-second clock, do we?
No, that was a 2-minute timeout. The clock had ticked down to 2 minutes, and the official timeout. There you see the signal.
Going to both sidelines.
So timeout here at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. The New England Patriots in field goal position, trailing the Raiders by 3. About an NFL 85, and understand they're going to be chatting with the victorious Chicago Bears. The Bears will host the Los Angeles Rams next Sunday for the NFC title. That means that either Miami or the Raiders will be the host team in the late game. If New England wins, it will be at Miami, and of course the Raiders with a win will stay right here and host the Dolphins. 2nd down, less than 10. Fake reverse, and that will be an incomplete pass. It was a forward pass. Incomplete. Howie Long was right in the thick of things again for the Raiders.
Lined up right on Pete Brock. Down in the trenches, the two of them nose to nose. Boy, you can see every eyelash there, and you see why Easton had to get that ball off. Long in there, and Martin both in very quickly on him on that last play.
You used the expression a rip move by defensive lineman. Was that what we just saw, where you just throw that forearm out, just try to brush that offensive player away?
This Raider defensive line very good at pushing with one hand and then ripping up underneath with the opposite arm.
3rd and 10. Over the middle, incomplete. Aimed at the tight end. No, it was not. Stanley Morgan underneath was the intended target. Jeff Barnes broke it up. And here comes Tony Franklin with a 44 or 45-yard attempt that would tie it. Trying to take advantage of Lepet's second interception of a Wilson pass here in this first half.
See Franklin stamping things down. He's preparing the spot where he's going to kick from. Now watch him. He'll step back carefully after stomping that grass down. He knows where the ball is. The finger of the holder, Eason, marks the spot.
45-yard attempt, and it's good. We have a new game in Los Angeles with 1:45 left in the first half. Each side with 17.
Al Davis, in conversations earlier, talked about his choice of opponents. The one team he least wanted to play in the AFC, the Patriots. As you watch Franklin's longest field goal in the playoffs, you might remember going back to Super Bowl 15 that these Raiders blocked one of his his field goals. He was in a green and white uniform then when he was playing for the Eagles just before the half in that big game. I wonder if that was going through his head here today, remembering that play, which kind of helped to cement that Eagle loss. Well, here, Franklin has kicked the ball through the uprights to take this game back to even at 17.
Ronnie LePet's interception leading to the tying field goal. Tom Flores in his 20th year of coaching and with the Raiders as a head man in his 7th season has a chance to win 100 games in 10 years, and only 2 other men have done that in their first 10 years in the NFL, Don Shula and John Madden. Flores has won 70 games in 7 seasons, so if he just maintains that pace, he'll get his 100. Franklin, short. Walker at the 9. Boy, good coverage downfield for New England. Number 54, Ed Williams, down there in a hurry. Well, we'll be pleased to be calling the championship game of the American Football Conference next Sunday. It'll be the late game of the doubleheader. The NFC game will be early, 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, 12:30 here in the West for NFL 85. Miami has his position secured. You can bet the Dolphins are rooting for New England today. They'd like to be home for the AFC title game. Raiders win, then Miami has to head west. Marcus Allen. Boy, you can look at the pads popping. Andre Tippett losing his helmet as he was in on that action.
Tremendous penetration on that play. Roland James, 38, is the man who goes in underneath it. We don't see him, but he cut down 2 of the defenders, and then Tippett put his hat right into the chest, and as it bounced away, he made the tackle. Boy, there's some hitting. You could hear that shot all the way up here in our booth, and that's got to be, what, 100 yards away, Dick?
Now, those are the headliners, the marquee men that we talked about back at the start of the game. Allen and Tippett, 2 huge stars. It's deep, and LePet covering Dokie Williams well.
Dick, I mentioned a moment ago that Al Davis really preferred to play either of the other opponents or many of the other opponents rather than New England. The reason for that, he did not like the matchups. That big offensive line of the Patriots, he was concerned about them and their ability to control the defensive line. Concerned about the speed matchups at the receiver position. And really, that was his thinking. He felt that they could handle Miami. He said, we've done it before, we can do it again. He liked the matchup against the Jets, but he was really concerned about New England. And you see why in the first half of this game.
A minute and a second left in the half, so it's a big third down play for Wilson. Otherwise, the Patriots going to get a chance at the ball. Wilson gives to Marcus, and he has the first down. Out of bounds at the 36-yard line. And one of the notes of importance in this first half, Ray Guy has not had to punt. That means, more importantly, Irving Fryer, the best in the NFL at returning punts, has been kept out of that particular play.
The downside to that, however, is that the Raiders have kept him off the field by throwing interceptions on a couple of occasions, and that is not a happy note. But right now, you have a sense that if there is a confidence balance in this game, and I'm sure there is, that at some point in the game, if it stayed this tight, it might come down to who has had the most experience in this kind of game. And that certainly would favor the Los Angeles Raiders.
Jerry Mark right again. There's some problems with the clock. 47 seconds showing and waiting patiently. Marcus Allen, just to update his statistics with that last run. Allen now has 72 yards in the half. Allen, along with leading the NFL, the first ever Raider to win the rushing title in the National Football League, setting a record for most total yards in a season, and also 9 consecutive 100-yard games. That ties Walter Payton's record set earlier in. Here comes Tippett. And the throw to Christensen, and Tippett forced Wilson to throw hurriedly.
Larry McGrew, number 50, the man that was covering on that play. And you'll see him as he comes out to join Christensen on this play. Todd working to the outside. Roland James trying to get over there. The ball well behind him. I think Mark may have been throwing. Ooh, look at the little bump right at the back there. You saw number 60. That's Garen Veras, who had such a big week last week with 3 sacks against the Jets.
Second down and long. Christensen. And he's bumped out of bounds at the 34. That's very close to field goal range now for Chris Barr, and plenty of time.
Todd Christensen, 3 years he's been over 80 catches. What an amazing record of consistency for this young man. Pass on the last time for Mark Wilson was not on target. You can't throw that one any more perfectly.
Here's a man drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, and Mike Ditka, then an assistant coach with the Cowboys, tried to make him into a tight end. He said, no, I won't play that position. I want to be a running back, and failed with the Cowboys, and now a Pro Bowl star at that position with the Raiders. Allen twisting and turning to the 23. 10 more yards for Allen. Timeout, 29 seconds left.
Body control so important. Allen jumped right over the top of Steve Nelson on that last play. Watch the penetration by Steve Nelson, number 57. He dives right there, and Allen just picks up his body and lifts up over the top. Now that is amazing, to be concentrating on what is opening up, what's ahead of you, to still have that kind of presence and that kind of body control.
Now, he's like so many great backs. Gale Sayers had it, thinking going way back. Doak Walker had it. The players that never seem to get hit hard. I mean, no matter what position Allen is in, you never really seem to get a real clean shot. The championship game, Miami against the winner of this one. It's tied at 17. 29 seconds remaining. First down, Raiders. Good protection. And it's Todd Christensen battling to the 15-yard line. Timeout, and that is the last timeout for the Raiders, we believe.
Todd Christensen, I was asking some of the coaches about the patterns he runs, and very often Todd's patterns you can't chart. You see there why you can't do it, because his philosophy just get open. Now, particularly on that play, which was a delay, faking the block on Tippett, and then at the last moment rolling to the outside. I believe he was probably a secondary receiver on that, stabilizing the offense and doing a much better job of protecting Mark Wilson.
This drive now has taken the Raiders inside the Patriot 15. 2nd and 2. Wilson. Closest man was Frank Hawkins, and he had a couple of white jerseys around him. 15 seconds left in the half.
Well, I think you'll see another shot at the end zone. There's no sense quitting now. Plenty of time. You still got your timeout, so you can stop the clock. Wilson's choices were not there. No one open. Good coverage, good protection on the receivers by the New England secondary, so he threw it away.
4 completions to his teammates, and 2 have gone to the Patriots. Chris Barr, if he does have a field goal chance, it'll be a short one. 3rd and 2. And Marcus Allen covered by Steve Nelson. And Wilson, under pressure, had to dump it off, and with 10 seconds left, number 10 will come in, Chris Barr, for the field goal.
The heat was on. Both outside linebackers, Blackman and Tippett, coming hard. Although Wilson was able to step up, he could feel the pressure, and he threw it away.
Barr's 3rd attempt of the half. He was good from 29. He missed from 44. This one will be 32 yards. Have the lead. An impressive drive, but a frustrating end for Los Angeles. They certainly thought they'd get 7 out of that and had to settle for the 3, and a 20-17 lead with 6 seconds remaining in the half.
Quarterback coach Larry Kennan and Tom Flores there to talk to Mark as he comes off the field to ask what he was seeing. Very often, it's interesting, Dick. You come off the field, you're charged with emotion. The coach will say, "What happened out there?" You tell him what you think happened. Then you go and look at the film and you say, "Hey, that wasn't it at all." Very difficult to bring good information from the field to the sideline. And that's why it's so important to have coaches up here in the press box looking down. Very often, they can be much more objective about what's happening on the field.
Well, it's just true in basketball. On the bench or in the baseball dugout, those are the worst. And he found a new home with the Raiders and took them to a couple of Super Bowls. 3 seconds, 2 seconds left, and 1 second, then they'll have a chance for a final play since the clock stops on the possession change. The way the Patriots responded on that kickoff, one would think they're not going to take any chances on one long play.
I don't think they're going to risk anything here down on their own 20. I think you'll just see them sit on the ball here. There's Les Steckel, who calls the plays, quarterback coach, receiver coach for the Patriots, standing next to Barry, the former head coach of the Minnesota Vikings.
It's had some interesting flows the first 30 minutes. The Patriots on the board first after an early turnover, and the Raiders scoring 17 unanswered, only to find New England coming back to tie it, and then a field goal in the final seconds, giving the Raiders the advantage at the intermission. Los Angeles Raiders 20, the New England Patriots 17. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.